Thing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into something a little bit different from me. Normally, I do audio only, but I thought I would bring in the webcam and do a little reaction because I saw this list. Maybe I saw this list like a few weeks ago, and it is crazy. The top 10, I think, are probably fine when it comes to these MLB ballpark rankings. I mean, this is very subjective. I'm going to give a lot of leniency to this individual, but some of these, it's just absurd. And then I'm also going to be talking about the ballparks, some of the different ballparks that I've visited as we look at this list. Where does your team rank? Let's see. At number 30, Tropicana Field. So, believe it or not, I have been to Tropicana Field, and the argument is always, is Tropicana Field number 30 or is the Coliseum? And I always put the Coliseum at number 30 because it's multi-purpose. At least Tropicana Field, the dome is bad, but you're never going to deal with any rain. It's climate controlled. And you also have the fact that it was built primarily for baseball. It actually hosted NHL games before the Rays moved there. But either way, they've got Tropicana Field at number 30. And when I went there, we went to Florida, Sarasota, Florida, maybe like around 2012. And I wanted to go to the new Marlins Park. But the problem is, based on where we were, it was like 2 hours away. And St. Petersburg was only like 30 minutes. So we went to it was either a 4:05 or 4:10 Saturday afternoon start. I think they still do those with the Rays. They always have like 4 o'clock games on Saturday at Tropicana Field. And it was like thunderstorming outside. You can hear it like hitting the roof because the weather is just crazy. That's the thing with Florida. It's so unique. They need some form of roof because they get rogue thunderstorms all the time. And then 2 minutes it'll be perfectly sunny. But yeah, I would have Tropicana Field at 29. I would have the Coliseum at number 30. But this is nitpicking. Obviously, these are the two worst. Moving on to number 28. Oh my goodness. And see, this is the issue. I think this person, we understand these people. They don't know stadiums very well. Their publication tells them, you've got to put this out. You've got to do it. They probably didn't know the Rogers Center received a huge makeover. And it's obviously not 28. I would have the Rogers Center, honestly, looking at it during the season. I think when I did my rankings this year during the preseason, and or during spring training, I might have ranked it like maybe 20th or something. I'd probably move it up to like 13 or 14. They did an amazing job on that renovation. 28 is just ridiculous. This person just didn't know that it got a renovation. Globe Life Field, the newest MLB stadium at number 27. I've been critical of Globe Life Field. Guys, if you look on my Twitter, you will see a Texas Rangers fan sent me a very nasty email about my ranking of Globe Life Field. I have to say, I respect the passion when it comes to MLB stadium rankings, but I ranked Globe Life Field 22nd or something, and he came at me. I don't know what he's going to do to this person. This poor writer, he's 27th Globe Life Field. There's no way it can be 27. I know it's a very underwhelming stadium. It's not going to age well. For the newest MLB stadium, there's going to be all the new crap. It's got the retractable roof. It's got a, translucent aspect to it even when it's closed. There's a ton of natural light that gets let in. The exterior look of it does look like a Costco, but you can't rank it at number 27. Let's be honest. This is another one. It's sad to see. It really is. And it's not called Marlins Park. I wish it was called Marlins Park. It is now Lone Depot. I would have Lone Depot inside, honestly, of my top 20. I think people rank it low because it always has no atmosphere. This is a ballpark that's never hosted a playoff game, believe it or not. Always bad offenses with the Marlins. The exterior is so amazing. The surrounding landscaping is awesome. The retractable roof aspect of it is very sad. Obviously, that design should not have been implemented. What they should have done, if you guys look at what Orlando is trying to do, the Orlando Dreamers, the potential MLB expansion team, they've got a fully translucent roof, and that's what you have to do in the state of Florida. When you have a retractable roof and there's no natural light, you're never going to have the thing open because there's always humidity. There's always a chance for a thunderstorm. You do have a window right here, but there needs to be some type of window on top which would make it translucent and allow for natural light to come in, even with it being climate controlled. That's the big issue. But this is a beautiful stadium. Come on. People get too caught up in the fact that it always has a terrible atmosphere. All right, I'm going to move it on. I'm not going to spend 40 minutes on this video. Great American Ballpark. No, there's no way it's 25. I could see 20 or 21. It needs to be higher than that. It's not one of the 6 worst ballparks. You know, there's some stadiums that are certainly worse than Great American. I like the fact that Great American is an extreme offensive park. Having it at 25, I just think that's too low. Nationals Park at 24, I agree. I believe I had it at 23. It's just not good. It's very bland. I've said that for a while now. Chase Field needs to be lower, especially lower than Great American. Chase Field probably will be getting a major renovation. It's either that or potentially a new stadium, but I do think they will get the renovation around $500 million. It's routinely one of the worst stadiums, just the way it's designed. The ridiculous elongated upper deck. I hate the center field configuration. American Family Field has the exact same thing. I think it looks so ugly. It's the connected scoreboard to the center field wall. That's just such an ugly design, and nobody else talks about it. I can't believe people don't think that's an ugly design. It just looks really bad. Angel Stadium is worse than Great American Ballpark, man. Angel Stadium, I would say bottom 5. I don't know what they're gonna do. They're probably going to try and pitch for a new stadium, and I'm guessing the Angels are going to go shopping, meaning look at surrounding cities to possibly move from Anaheim. It's a weird relationship. It's like they're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, you know? So that whole thing is kind of strange. You've got the nice rock formation, but if you guys know about this stadium opening in 1963, they made it multi-purpose. They had a huge renovation in 97 to bring it back to baseball only, and it's just an outdated design. The upper deck design is outdated. And I do think we could get an exotic pitch for a new Angel Stadium with maybe a translucent retractable roof. Busch Stadium at number 21. So this person evidently agrees that yes, Busch Stadium does need a $600 million renovation. How is Busch Stadium at 21? I don't know. For me, it's top 10. Just there's not one aspect of Busch Stadium that is bad. So I don't know how it's 21. Truist Park at number 20. Very similar to Busch Stadium. Similar design. I would say, I think I have Truist Park a little bit lower than Busch. I just like Busch, but Truist Park definitely higher than number 20. Have no clue. And you've got Guaranteed Rate Field here. Oh my goodness. So Guaranteed Rate Field is better than Truist Park. It's better than Busch Stadium. Great sight lines. You can't see anything. It's all advertisements. You can't say great sight lines, man. Oh, you're talking about on the field? But even that, it's got a really high up upper deck. So, yeah, what are we doing with Guaranteed Rate Field? I don't know, man. Apparently, it's better than Truist Park. Yankee Stadium at 18. I would have Yankee Stadium a bit higher than this. I think Yankee Stadium is underrated. People say it's too corporate. It's like a mall. They say it's like a giant mall, but they were really left with kind of a no-win situation when you look at previous Yankee Stadium. Now everyone says, well, they should have done something completely different. But back in 2005, 2006, everyone wanted a remade Yankee Stadium, and that's what they did. They just made a more modern Yankee Stadium with smaller upper decks going all the way around, the foul poles wrapping around. I mean, it is what it is. They just remade Yankee Stadium because it was a legendary stadium and gave it a modern look. That's all they did with Yankee Stadium, and the cost of it was absurd. But I think it's at least top 15 to me. Citizens Bank Park, come on. I don't know how Citizens Bank Park is number 17. Great MLB stadium. I would have it 10, maybe 9, probably inside my top 10. Citi Field at 16. Yeah, so there's a disconnect with me and a lot of people on Citi Field. I'm really not a fan of this stadium. I just don't. The exterior is amazing. The brick exterior is amazing. But you've got that giant upper deck, just the way the seating is done. The other problem with this stadium is they've moved the fences so many times. They were able to do it here in left field decently well because they have this little party deck. But in right center, there's a bunch of dead zones. It looks like such a weird configuration. And then there's actually a fence, and then about 10 feet of nothing, and then the previous wall, and then the seating starts out in right center. I just don't like that. I will say, this area, you've got the nice 2-deck approach. Baseballs get hit up there. That's cool. And this is a photo before they got the massive new scoreboard. Citi Field's not the worst, but there's a lot of people that rank it inside the top 10. American Family Field at number 15. American Family Field better, apparently, than Busch Stadium, better than Truist Park. No chance. American Family Field, I would say 24, maybe 25. They are getting a $500 million renovation, and they're probably going to change a lot of this outfield seating. It's going to be a very similar, I would guess, situation to the Rogers Center, although some of that money might need to be spent on the roof. Apparently, the roof is messed up at American Family Field, but they're going to be getting a huge makeover, and good for them. We'll see what, there's no way you can rank it number 15. It's getting a massive renovation for a reason. Minute Maid Park at 14, I can't disagree with that. I wish they still had Tal's Hill. It has unique factors for sure with the train. You've got the light coming in. I really wish they would replace these windows with more modern stuff. To me, that just looks outdated. The stadium opened in 2001, I think. I would replace that with more modern windows. It would make the stadium look a lot better, in my opinion. Comerica Park at number 13. This is another disconnect. This is a boring stadium. I'm sorry. And how cheap they've gone on the renovations. People always tell me, Comerica, you need to go there. It's top 10. It's top 15. Just looking at it, it's a boring stadium. I'm sorry. It is what it is. So I would have Comerica probably like 20th or 21. Lower than Great American. Lower than a lot of the ones that they have ranked below Comerica. Not a huge fan of it. Kauffman Stadium, I do like Kauffman Stadium. You can see the upper deck is outdated. This was a bad photo they chose. The outfield is amazing. The outfield seating is cool. The only issue with it in right field, there's really no seating. It's just like party decks, which I think is a little gimmicky. But you've got the fountains, very nice stadium, I would agree. Progressive Field at number 11. So I've been to this stadium a ton. I guess you could call this my home stadium, if you will. I don't live in Cleveland, but I'm about 40 minutes from it. And I think they destroyed this stadium, unfortunately. The problem is, if you look at the right field upper deck area, they renovated it. They renovated it in, I believe, 2014. And then they started going on their playoff runs. Imagine if they would have just kept that seating, the capacity. You could even limit seating over here and lower the capacity to about 40K. Originally, the capacity was 43K. They put all these shipping containers, and those have since been removed, but they originally did that, and it lowered the capacity to 34K, and then they hosted the World Series, but they could only have, with standing room, a total attendance of like 38,000 because they removed all the seats. I wish they would have just kept those seats. I know it's an obsolete design having the upper deck jet out in right field, but when it's a sellout, it just looks so amazing. And what they did, it's like you can either do one of two things. You need to put some type of rooftop bar up there, or you need to just leave it. And they did neither. They took out the seating and they went cheap both times on both renovations. Even the newer renovation, I think, looks bad because you can see the skeleton of the original seating. So I would have Progressive Field lower. I do think just Cleveland, it's in Cleveland. It's going to be underrated. It's a decent stadium, but there are problems with it, the renovation specifically. And then they also took out seating down the third base line of the upper deck as well. This is too low. I know they've got Petco at number 10. I think it's top 4, top 5. San Diego, the amazing weather. This is a great ballpark. They redid the left field area. You could say, you could say the upper deck a little bit too large, but the attendance they get, 42K, you need that. So Petco, that's fine. T-Mobile, I thought it was T-Mobile Park. I would have T-Mobile at number 13 or number 12. When I was growing up, this was my favorite stadium. I just loved the fact that it was open and the retractable roof operated like an umbrella, the only stadium in MLB still to this day that does that, which is why it's open like 80% of the time. There's really no incentive to close it unless there's precipitation because it's not climate controlled on the interior. But this is a nice stadium. I've always thought their center field bleacher seating, this kind of level, was very peculiar. It's just a unique thing. It's like cut off from everything, and it's set random center field seating. You normally don't see rows of like center field seating that's cut off from all the other stuff. But there is that. Also, kind of this area down here is, you would like to see seating or something. I know the bullpens are out there. The bullpen configuration isn't the best in this stadium. Kind of reminds me of American Family Field, but Target Field at number 8. Target Field's great. Not a great photo. It looks like they got this photo from the pandemic. You can see all the tarps up there. But yeah, Target Field, I would say number 10, number 9. I don't disagree with number 8. Coors Field at number 7. You know, their top 10, I think, is relatively fine. Coors Field at number 7, no problem with that. Dodger Stadium, I'd have a little bit lower. You know, it's one of those legendary stadiums. Where do you rank it? Normally, I rank it at number 10, just to be fair. 6 is a little bit high for me. Higher than Coors, I don't think so. They did do the renovation to the outfield seating. They have a crazy high capacity, 56K by far. Well, if you include Mount Davis, I think the Coliseum might have a total capacity of 57K, but that's a real nerdy thing. So not including Mount Davis, they have the highest capacity, and they're going to average probably 49, 50K this year. I've always thought, what if the Dodgers got a new stadium? What would the capacity of it be? Probably 50K, honestly. It'd be crazy. Fenway at number 5. I always have Fenway at number 1. I just think it's the perfect stadium. Number 5, that's fine. I'm not going to go crazy, disagree on that. But PNC at number 4. I mean, these are going to be the top stadiums for sure. PNC's great. I believe I had PNC at number 8, maybe a little bit lower. Like, me personally, I think Busch Stadium's better than PNC. I know most people don't agree with that. I just think it is. For example, Oriole Park at Camden Yards at number 3. I'm really not a fan of what they did to left field. It's just too deep. The wall is too high. That's just my opinion. But yeah, it's top 10 for sure. And they're getting a renovation to it at around $300 million, I want to say. It's going to be mainly a ballpark district, I think. Wrigley at 2. I'd have Wrigley a little bit lower, but we're splitting hairs. And then Oracle, of course, at number 1. You cannot go wrong with the amazing backdrop, the water. It is certainly remarkable, and I can't really disagree with that. But that was just kind of a fun reaction to these rankings. By the way, I forgot to say, I have also been to Oracle Park as well. Maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, went to San Francisco, and it was like a 12:35 Pacific start time on a Wednesday, I want to say. So I didn't get a night game at Oracle where you can kind of see, you know, the sun setting and everything like that. But still, an amazing ballpark. Just kind of a fun reaction video. Either way, guys, that's going to do it. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.